Hello, my friends. The air battle continues today. The Russians keep launching Shahed drones into Ukrainian territory. Meanwhile, things are also heating up inside Russia. Yesterday, there was news of an explosion in the Belgorod region, followed by reports of air defense systems at work in Taganrog. As we can see, the activity on Russian soil hasn't stopped either, and all the nuclear strike threats remain just that threats. In the Kursk region, it's been relatively calm. The Russians continue shelling border villages in the Sumy region, but their counteroffensive has stalled and they still can't push the Ukrainian forces off Russian territory. Aside from shelling Ukrainian land, they are even hitting their own villages in an effort to force the Ukrainian forces to retreat. In the Kharkiv direction, shelling continues as well, but the intensity of the strikes isn't at its peak, and the offensive actions have yielded no success. They are trying to regain lost positions in Vovchansk and near the village of Tikha. However, their front line has remained unchanged over the past 24 hours. In the Kupiansk direction, the situation remains difficult. Here, the Russians are maintaining their high level of activity, continuing assaults near Sinkivka and the village of Pishane. So far, there have been no new advances along the front line, but the fight persists as they regroup in preparation for new offensive actions aimed at getting closer to Kupiansk and the water barrier. In the Svatove area, after prolonged attacks, the Russians have also begun regrouping, leading to a slight decrease in activity. However, there are still attacks in the areas of Lozova and Stelmachivka, but without any success. Further south, the Russians continue trying to break through near Rekivka and the village of Makivka, but there have been no changes along the front line in the past 24 hours. In the Crimea direction, the Russians are attempting to storm Nevsky and break through to the water barrier. South of Torsk, they are also trying to advance closer to the water obstacle. Additionally, there are reports of shelling in the areas of Liman and Zarichne, but the front line remains unchanged with no successes for the Russians. In the Siversk direction, there have been 9 assaults. Offensive actions continue near Verkhnyo-Kamensk, and fighting is ongoing around the area of Vyimka. The Russians are heavily shelling Pereizne, and there are indications that offensive actions may soon resume here. However, over the past day, the front line has remained unchanged. In the Chasiv Yar direction, there were 5 assaults over the past day. The Russians continue attacking near Kalinivka and Novy microdistrict and are trying to extend the front line closer to the village of Stupachke as well as near Bilahora. However, no new successes were achieved by the Russians and the front line remains unchanged. In the Toretsk direction, the Russians conducted 13 assaults and continue advancing further into Toretsk, where street battles taking place. There is also a high volume of shelling in the area. Additionally, the Russians are attempting to break through closer to Sherbinivka, but without success. The front line hasn't changed over the past day. In the Pokrovsk direction, there were 28 assaults in the past 24 hours. The Russians continue their assaults in the Mykolaivka area, aiming to reach the outskirts of Marnograd directly. They even attempted to break through to the village of Prominy. But the Ukrainian forces repelled all attacks, and for now, there are no changes in the situation. Similarly, the Russians are continuing attempts to break through to Lysivka, but here too, the Ukrainian forces successfully fend off all attacks. Further south, in the areas of Solidove and Tsukurine, intense fighting continues, though there have been no changes so far. Regarding Zheladne Druga, Only Russian sources are reporting the capture of the settlement. The Ukrainian side has made no statements regarding the village, so we are waiting further information. In the direction of Kurakhove, reports indicate fighting over Hostre, Maximilianivka, Katerinivka, and advances near the village of Kostiantinivka across the fields. However, some maps are showing that Hostre is already under Russian control. As of now, there is no confirmation regarding the geolocations, so we must wait to see how events unfold. Nevertheless, the situation here is extremely difficult. The Russians are advancing with the support of equipment and manpower, conducting around 20 assaults in the area in a single day, which is a very high number. The situation in the Vuhledar direction is also challenging. The Russians continue their attempts to break through to Bohoyavlenka and are conducting shelling. Looking at the closed map, it's clear from the geolocations that the Russians are intensively preparing Bohoyavlenka and Novukrayinka for assaults, and a large number of shelling incidents are recorded here. So, in the near future, the situation in this area is unlikely to ease. The Russians are preparing for new assaults, and Russian experts openly admit that everything they capture ends up in ruins. The cities are completely destroyed. As a result, the so called liberation of Donbass residents isn't happening, as they are capturing practically empty lands while the people remain in Ukraine. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, activity has also increased. The Russians are conducting offensive actions near Robotine, Malysherbaki, and Kamiansk. Moreover, the shelling continues, but there have been no changes along the front line in the past 24 hours. However, reports of preparations for assault in this direction are once again emerging. In the Kherson direction, shelling of the right bank continues, and a drone strike injured 4 people. However, no further activity has been recorded on the left bank. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.